When Maya discovered her husband Wesley's infidelity, her world fell apart. Not only had he been unfaithful, but he also had impregnated his mistress, leaving Maya grappling with shock and betrayal. Alongside the divorce papers, Wesley sent a letter filled with cruel words that only deepened her pain. Maya had always dreamed that Wesley would share her joy at the birth of their child. However, Wesley was absent, neither attending the birth nor participating in naming their child. Unable to forgive his neglect and betrayal, Maya found herself trying to calm her outraged parents as they collectively confronted this painful reality. Seeking some form of closure, Maya visited her in-laws, Rowan and Natalia, who were devastated upon reading Wesley's letter. Despite their shock, they apologized profoundly, reflecting their genuine decency, which made Maya feel even more conflicted and guilty over the whole situation. In a moment of shared sorrow, Rowan turned to Natalia, contemplating whether they should confront Wesley more harshly about his actions. Maya reminisced about her early days with Wesley. They had met in their 20s at a movie theater, where a clumsy moment involving spilled popcorn led to their first conversation. Their shared interest in movies quickly blossomed into a close friendship and eventually a romantic relationship. Wesley proposed in a movie-themed restaurant, and Maya, captivated by their love and shared interests, eagerly accepted. After marrying, Maya joined the company that Wesley had inherited from his father, Rowan. She left her previous job to become a director of supply chain at the company, utilizing her business school expertise. Rowan and Natalia, unlike the intimidating figures she had imagined, were warm and welcoming from the start. They maintained a supportive presence in Maya's life without being intrusive, often inviting her to meals and sharing cooking tips and family recipes. However, the harmony was disrupted when Maria, a new employee, joined the company during Maya's pregnancy. Despite her beauty and confidence, Maria's past was marked by harassment at previous workplaces, which she openly discussed during her interview, a task Wesley handled alone due to Maya's prenatal appointment. Maria was quickly promoted, a decision that Maya felt uneasy about, given her brief tenure and Wesley's personal involvement. Maria's behavior at work soon became a concern. She was polite in tone yet harsh in her criticism of younger colleagues, often making cutting remarks about their educational backgrounds. This tale of love, betrayal, and family dynamics underscores the complexities of relationships and the impact of personal choices on the lives of those around us. Maya felt increasingly isolated as her pregnancy progressed, overshadowed by the disruptive presence of Maria, a new employee at the company. Maria's harsh demeanor was taking a toll not just on her colleagues, but also on Maya herself. Despite her seniority, Maria's approach to feedback was unforgiving and often personal, targeting not just the work but the individuals themselves. Maria's critiques were biting, often crossing the line into personal insults. "It's just your brain that's lacking," she'd say dismissively when someone made a minor error. Her comments were deeply inappropriate for the workplace, even going so far as to criticize someone's upbringing. "Your parents must feel sorry for raising such an incompetent person," she would sneer. Maya had tried to address these issues with Maria, pointing out that such remarks were neither professional nor constructive, but Maria remained unapologetic. Maria justified her behavior under the guise of being helpful, asserting, "I'm just doing my job by pointing things out and providing guidance." Yet her so-called guidance felt more like attacks, and her inability to acknowledge her harshness only exacerbated tensions within the team. Wesley, Maya's husband and the company president, seemed indifferent to the situation. When Maya expressed her concerns about Maria's impact on the team's morale, Wesley dismissed it, suggesting that Maria was still adjusting. Despite Maya's reduced involvement in company matters due to her pregnancy, she couldn't help but notice the deteriorating atmosphere around Maria. Maria's technical skills might have been adequate. She was knowledgeable and good at memorization, but her application of this knowledge was often lacking. She relied heavily on existing templates without making necessary adjustments, and when corrections were suggested, she bristled with excuses. "I was just working efficiently," she'd argue, "or the way we do things here is inefficient." Her arrogance extended beyond work matters. Maria often boasted about her lunches, disparaging the company cafeteria and even Maya's homemade meals, which she derided as brown mush. Wesley, influenced by Maria's opinions, even stopped accepting the lunches Maya prepared for him, further straining their relationship. As Maya's pregnancy became more visible, Wesley's remarks became more insensitive. He commented on her weight and accused her of using her pregnancy as an excuse to be lazy. This strained their marriage further, and Maya found herself longing for the support of her family. She considered going back to her hometown for the birth, but Wesley objected, questioning her need for such a move and trivializing her challenges. The situation reached a breaking point one day while Maya was shopping for maternity goods. She encountered a colleague, Bella, who was buying envelopes. Bella shared her own experiences with Maria's demeaning comments, revealing that the disrespect was widespread. This moment of solidarity with Bella underscored the pervasive negativity Maria had instilled in their workplace, making Maya realize the depth of the issue. Maya's frustration and isolation grew daily, exacerbated by Maria's unyielding condescension and Wesley's lack of support. As she prepared for maternity leave, Maya grappled with her deteriorating professional environment and the growing distance in her personal life, wondering how she could reclaim her sense of self amidst such turmoil. While shopping for maternity items, Maya encountered her colleague Bella, who looked visibly upset. Upon inquiring, Maya discovered that Bella was on the verge of resigning due to the distress caused by Maria, a problematic new employee at their company. Bella, a dedicated and highly valued employee, held significant expertise in bookkeeping and had been directly recruited by Rowan for her skills. Despite her valuable contributions to the company, Bella had no aspirations for a higher position as she was committed to caring for her triplets. However, her educational background became a target for Maria's scorn as soon as it was disclosed. Maria's disregard for Bella was evident. She not only ignored Bella's professional communications, but also personally insulted her, belittling her high school education and even making derogatory remarks about her children. This personal attack led Bella to confront Maria, questioning why her children were being brought into workplace disputes. Instead of resolving the conflict, Maria escalated the issue to Wesley, accusing Bella of creating a hostile work environment. Shockingly, Wesley sided with Maria, further complicating the situation. He framed the conflict as an experienced employee unjustly pressuring a newcomer, leading to a resolution where Bella was forced to apologize to Maria. Maria's response to the apology was arrogantly dismissive. She admonished Bella to know her place, without showing any signs of remorse. Maria's favoritism by Wesley only emboldened her further. Her communication with business partners was unprofessional, often using overly informal language or going off on tangents. This lack of professionalism required higher-ups, including Maya, to intervene and mend relationships, though Maria refused to participate in these corrective actions. As Maya listened to Bella, she learned that the office atmosphere had significantly deteriorated since Maria's arrival. Maria was often avoided by colleagues unless absolutely necessary for work-related interactions. Despite frequent corrections, Maria continued to dismiss feedback from her colleagues, particularly those she deemed less educated than herself. Bella confided in Maya that she was contemplating retirement as soon as her child secured stable employment, viewing it as an escape from the toxic environment. Although she had drafted a resignation letter, she was hesitant to leave abruptly, feeling a sense of duty to her responsibilities at the company. Bella's situation and her resilience in such a challenging environment left Maya deeply moved. Bella expressed concern for Maya's well-being, especially given her pregnancy, and wished her a healthy baby, underscoring the support they shared as colleagues amidst the turmoil. Maya felt a mix of sadness and admiration for Bella's strength, pondering the difficult choices many face in maintaining their professional and personal lives in the face of adversity. After a disheartening conversation with Bella returned home, her concerns about the workplace heavy on her mind. She attempted to discuss the situation with her husband, Wesley, but he dismissed her concerns outright. "You're not at the office right now, so you don't really understand the dynamics," he argued, insisting that prioritizing Maria over longtime employees like Bella was justifiable because, in his view, Bella's age meant she could no longer contribute significantly to the company. Wesley's abrupt departure from the house that evening, clearly agitated, was a reflection of his increasingly distant behavior. During the final weeks of her pregnancy, Maya faced not just emotional neglect, but also a lack of basic support from Wesley. Once, struggling with a simple task like trimming a toenail she could no longer reach, she asked Wesley for help. His response was cold and dismissive, ending with him storming out of the house. Feeling increasingly isolated, Maya decided to move to her parents' home earlier than planned for the birth. When she informed Wesley, his indifferent agreement was a stark contrast to his previous objections. "Fine, just leave already," he said dismissively. His lack of interest in her well-being and the impending birth of their child was painfully clear. At her parents' home, Maya found the support and calm she needed. Her father, excited about the arrival of his grandchild, and her in-laws, who maintained a caring but respectful distance, provided the emotional anchor she needed amidst the turmoil. However, Wesley's detachment continued to grow, and he was conspicuously absent from the hospital when their daughter was born. Maya named their daughter Eva, a decision she made alone in the hospital. Shortly after, an envelope arrived at our parents' house from Wesley. It contained a divorce petition and a letter shockingly revealing his affair with Maria, complete with a photo of them together, making a peace sign inside the home Maya had shared with Wesley. This blatant betrayal left her parents furious, but Maya felt a strange sense of calm, perhaps from the emotional distance she had already been forced to create. With the divorce papers in hand, Maya and her shocked parents visited her in-laws. They were initially unaware of the full extent of Wesley's betrayal. Upon learning the truth, Rowan and Natalia were devastated, blaming themselves for their son's actions. The sight of his parents' deep remorse moved Maya, and she reassured them that she did not blame them for Wesley's failings. Determined to confront the situation head-on, Rowan and Natalia accompanied Maya back to the house where Wesley was staying. Upon their arrival, Wesley, taken aback by the sight of his parents' furious expressions and Maya's resolve, panicked, unsure of what was about to unfold. It was a moment of reckoning for a family torn apart by betrayal and deceit. After the devastating discovery of Wesley's betrayal and his new life set up with Maria, Maya, alongside her in-laws, Rowan and Natalia, confronted Wesley at the house they had once shared. The living room, now redecorated to Maria and Wesley's liking, was a painful sight for Maya. It was adorned with maternity items bearing Maria's name and pictures of the two displayed proudly. As they entered, Rowan immediately addressed Wesley, criticizing him for his absence during the birth of his child and for the lies that had prioritized his affair over his responsibilities. Wesley's response was shockingly dismissive. He blamed Maya's pregnancy weight gain for his detachment and praised Maria for respecting him, starkly declaring his preference for her over his own family. The confrontation escalated quickly, with Rowan shouting in disbelief at Wesley's callousness, and Natalia, moved to tears, slapped Wesley, distraught by his neglect of his daughter Eva and his cruel indifference. Wesley retorted, expressing his annoyance at being updated about his newborn's milestones, which he found utterly uninteresting. Amidst this heated exchange, it was clear that Wesley and Maria were unremorseful. They remained defiant, even arrogant, as Rowan and Natalia expressed their disgust and disappointment. Seeing no remorse or understanding from Wesley, the decision was made swiftly. Maya and her in-laws would push for a divorce. With the help of Rowan and Natalia, Maya drafted and had Wesley sign an alimony demand letter. They filed the divorce papers promptly, formalizing the end of their marriage. When Wesley and Maria boasted about the settlement, showing off the stamped documents, the emotional toll on Maya was immense. But she held strong, supported by her in-laws who declared their intention to sever ties with Wesley and Maria. Caught off guard by the decision, Wesley and Maria pleaded, not ready to accept the familial estrangement. They promised to change, but the damage was too deep. In a final turn of accountability, Rowan and Natalia demanded Wesley step down as president of the company, citing his poor judgment and unethical behavior that had hurt other employees and destabilized the company. This drastic family and professional upheaval marked a bitter end to a tumultuous chapter in Maya's life. but it also reinforced the unwavering support and love she received from her parents and in-laws. They cherished and stood by her through the ordeal, prioritizing her well-being and that of little Eva, ensuring that despite the deep wounds inflicted, Maya was not alone. He had been lost for words, unsure if he understood the gravity of the situation. "I'm the president, after all," he declared, though his tone lacked conviction. "Just because you're the parents doesn't give you the right to dismiss him so casually," someone retorted. "True, if he doesn't choose to step down, it won't happen overnight." Rowan then spoke up, forcing everyone to reconsider their stance with his assertive words. "Can you both truly manage the company effectively?" he questioned. His next revelation left them dumbfounded. He had covertly gathered opinions from their employees, who had unanimously declared they would resign if the current leadership remained. It turned out that Rowan had been influential enough to organize this survey, given his initial ownership of the company. Wesley and Maria were at a loss for words, realizing the severe implications. The company could collapse if everyone resigned simultaneously. "Stop using scare tactics, Dad. These employees won't find jobs elsewhere. I've already planned to employ them in a new department I'm creating," Maria bluffed, though her confidence was shaken by the employees' discontent under her leadership. Their faces flushed with indignation as Rowan continued his strategic maneuvering. Left with no alternatives, Wesley and Maria grudgingly agreed to resign from their presidential roles. "But you'll keep us on as executives, right? We need those positions," they pleaded desperately, fearing a complete demotion. "Actually, the new president has already been chosen," Rowan announced with undeniable authority, causing a stir. "It's Bella. She's the most qualified and will be supported by Maya in the presidency." Maria's shock was palpable and she erupted in disbelief. "Why her? How can someone with just a high school diploma take over as president?" She cried out disrespectfully, refusing to acknowledge Bella's hard work and dedication in managing the company's crises. "Bella has been effectively handling the mess you both created," Rowan countered calmly. "Unfortunately, due to ongoing compliance issues and numerous complaints against you, we cannot retain you any longer." Maria's reaction was extreme. She began to tear at her hair in frustration, accusing everyone of jealousy over her education and spreading false rumors. But the truth was harsher. Rowan, having kept a low profile, had been well informed about Bella's competence and Maria's disruptive behavior. After a thorough discussion with Bella, she agreed to take on the role of president. Moreover, Rowan disclosed another shocking detail. "Did you actually graduate as your resume claims?" he questioned Maria, who had been rapidly hired due to Wesley's infatuation, bypassing standard background checks. Investigations revealed that Maria had indeed attended the prestigious university she boasted about, but she had dropped out due to plagiarism in her reports and thesis. This revelation only deepened the crisis of integrity surrounding her, as Wesley stood up, feeling betrayed. "So you lied to me all this time?" Maria's fabrications, coupled with her ostentatious lifestyle marked by luxury and entitlement despite questionable qualifications, had finally come to light, exposing the flawed foundations on which her professional and social status were built. "When I first met Maria, she was the president of the company, and I approached her because of her position. I was bewildered by how things had spiraled out of control. It turned out that Maria came from a fairly wealthy family. Her parents, aware of her academic fraud and her dropping out of college, pushed her to face reality and get a job to experience the real world. Unfortunately, her tyrannical behavior at work led to significant company losses, and despite receiving a generous severance package, she was eventually dismissed. This severance allowed Maria to maintain her extravagant lifestyle for some time, but inevitably, her lavish spending depleted her savings and she began to accumulate debt. Desperate, she targeted Wesley, a young company president, hoping to secure a stable future by marrying him and planning to get pregnant. Her manipulative tactics extended to her workplace demeanor. She used her incomplete university degree to belittle others and saw the company as a kingdom she would eventually rule. However, losing the presidency to Bella, who was far more competent, was a severe blow to her ego. Her previous job harassment and the calculated interview strategies were all part of her plan to garner sympathy and manipulate perceptions. The realization hit me hard. I lost the company because of your actions, and this child of yours must be a lie too, I thought. But the truth was, the child was indeed Wesley's. Despite this, their relationship turned ugly. During my pregnancy, when I was battling morning sickness, Wesley was having an affair with Maria and they mocked me. Ultimately, Wesley and Maria's self-destructive path led my in-laws to evict them, urging me to stay. However, I couldn't bear to return to a home filled with their wedding photos and memories. I wanted to escape a place that had been so overtly decorated to showcase their so-called happiness. Wesley and Maria left the company and their marriage began to crumble. Wesley had expected financial support from Rowan and had little savings of his own. "How can you just abandon me like this? Do Mom and Dad hate me now too?" Wesley complained. He neglected his responsibilities towards Maya and Ava, and when told to apologize to Maya first, he stubbornly refused. Using his connections, Wesley found another job, but adapting was difficult for someone who had previously been at the top. For instance, he walked out of a meeting with a partner company halfway through, deeming it unimportant, and returned to his office. His cavalier attitude extended to client interactions as well. He forgot to send an important invoice to accounting, causing a payment delay. When the client pressed him, Wesley's response was dismissive, leading to a heated exchange where the client demanded to speak with his boss, frustrated by Wesley's lack of responsibility. Wesley's careless and arrogant behavior soon wore thin, frustrating even the most patient clients and causing further problems within his new company. His refusal to show remorse in a situation that clearly warranted it only deepened the disdain others felt towards him. His actions not only reflected poorly on him, but also strained his professional relationships, revealing a profound lack of judgment and accountability. A year had passed since I started raising Ava under the protective gaze of my parents and in-laws. One day, while holding Ava outside my parents' house, I noticed a man intensely watching us. As I soothed Eva, the man suddenly began to cry, covering his mouth with his hands. "What's the matter?" I asked as he approached, attempting to reach for Ava. Instinctively, I stepped back and upon closer inspection, I realized it was Wesley. He looked worn and thin, clearly not taking care of himself. "You've raised Ava so well. Were you waiting for me?" he mumbled, his words not making much sense. As Wesley tried to touch Eva, my father saw what was happening and rushed over, his presence forceful. "Why are you here? Leave now!" Wesley, desperate and disheveled, claimed he was there to pick up Maya. He confessed that his life with Maria had been miserable. They were broke and struggling with debt collectors after Maria had a child confirmed to be Wesley's. Maria had tried to return to her old job, but Bella, who was now in charge, refused her entry. Seeing the company thriving without her led Maria to a breakdown. "I'm more suited to be in charge," Maria had pleaded, causing a scene. Bella firmly handed her over to security as she threw a tantrum. Wesley admitted he wanted to leave Maria and their child, asking me to come back home so he could kick Maria out. "What are you talking about? Trying to abandon your new family just shows you haven't changed at all," I retorted, disgusted by his lack of responsibility. "I will never let Ava see you again. Don't come near us ever." Wesley's face fell into despair. "You've become too much like a mother. It's terrible how you've lost all your innocence," he lamented. My father, overhearing this, slammed his hand against the wall, his voice thundering with authority. This frightened Wesley enough to make him leave quickly. After he left, I spoke with my in-laws, who were profoundly sorry about everything. They promised to hire a security company to ensure our safety if Wesley ever lurked around again. My father, a former wrestling enthusiast, even began practicing again, his protective instincts as fierce as ever. Though it seems unlikely that I'll have anything to do with Wesley and Maria again, the stress they caused still haunts my dreams, reminding me of my determination to keep that chapter closed. In my arms, Eva sleeps peacefully, unaware and needing nothing more than the love and support of her strong family network. Without a father, she has her grandparents and in-laws, who ensure her happiness and well-being. Above all, I am committed to living positively, focusing on the vibrant life in front of us.